What's up, ladies? And you, and guys too, I guess, whatever. Today I was, actually a couple people wanted to know, they see all my monsters, they're like, oh, where do you use all your monsters? Do you even use some of them? And I'm like, no, I don't use some of them at all. But they wanted to know where I use them and what I do with my, what I do with all my monsters. So, so I thought I would show you. I thought I would share, because sharing is caring. So let's go over all of my, we'll go over my 6-star monsters. I'm not going to go over and be like, oh, this puree, I use it for this. I don't use it. It's a 4-star monster. And so I'm going to just go over the 6-star monsters. And we'll check those out and I'll show you guys where I use them. Okay, let's start with Megan. Megan is runed for Swift Focus. Megan is used, I use her 2 places. I use her, actually I haven't been using her in Giants B10 lately because I've been using Ahman instead. But both work. So I've been using her in that, and I've also used her in Arena with 2 different setups. I do either one setup is like a speed AOE, just try to win as fast as possible, and that is if they don't have a tanky team or a Chloe. So if they have like a, I don't know, like an occult girl and like maybe another Megan and like Inugami and something else, then I'll be like, oh, okay, so I'll use a speed team with Megan. I'll use probably Tyron as the leader, and then I'll Tyron into and it'll make Megan faster. Megan's gonna be fast. She's going to buff up the attack of everyone, and then I'm gonna use Lushen to AOE and just win it pretty quickly. So that's where I've been using. It's a lazy team. Okay, so those are the 2 places I use Megan. I also use her when I'm facing Arena in Arena. The Water Epicure Priest. Use her 2nd skill, her Toad Poison. Removes a beneficial effect and blocks beneficial effects. So that's also why I have her for high accuracy. Okay, so that's Megan. Tyron. Tyron I have for Despair. Despair, and it's a broken set too. So that's, and I use him for an AoE crowd control. I use him for an AoE crowd control plus a speed leader. Now Tyron is not as useful. I actually use him both in dungeons, not in dungeons, in Trial of Ascension, as the leader sometimes. And then I also use him for Arena as the leader for attack teams. I'm going to be using, I just did a 6-star Shimitae, so I think I'm going to be using the Shimitae more for attack against Chloe teams now, so Tyron's going to get less use as far as that's concerned, but I'm still using him for Trial of Ascension to auto up to like 60 or 70 or something like that. I have an auto team that goes up to basically around there, I think. I don't remember where it stops being able to auto, but yeah, so that's where I'm using Tyron. I use him in Arena for attack. I think I use him for Arena defense. Sometimes I switch up my teams too. So yeah, so I use that for that. Sigmarus. Sigmarus I have runed for, actually his crit rate is pretty low. I didn't realize it was that low. He's got pretty good attack though, and he's runed for Vampire. And we need to work on this, actually, because that needs to be higher. But Sigmarus I have been using for carry. So if I'm going to be farming, trying to level up my monsters, I'll use Sigmarus as the lead, because he's got the AOE and he's got 2 good first skills. Sometimes I use Sigmarus actually in let's take a look at his skills. He has like no Devilmons. Sometimes I will use him in Arena, and I will use him in guild battles too. Oh, also the Tyron I use in guild battles too for his leader skill. Increase the attack speed of ally monsters. So if they're using a speedy team, I'll use Tyron for the leader. Sigmarus, let's see. Sometimes I will use him, for example, if they have a fire team. For in their guild battle defense, I will use Sigmarus as one of my attackers. And I'll also do Lumicia as well in that team. I'll probably use like literally these three. Actually, probably I'll use, depending, but sometimes I'll use Lumicia as the lead, and then Sigmarus, and then Tyron. But you never know. You never know. So I've been doing those in guild battles too. But Sigmarus I use for farming. I also use him as the leader for Giants B10. Because his leader skill is going to increase the HP of ally monsters in dungeons by 44%. Yes, so that's where I use Sigmarus. Not so much in arena, but sometimes, depending. Icy Cut. No, it's not her name. Her name is Lumicia. I use her basically sometimes in guild battles, sometimes, but I use her Giants B10 mostly. That's what she's for. Let's see. Rauk I have... Oh, Lumicia is rune for Violent and Energy. Rauk is rune for Violent Blade. Could be better, actually. But if I'm facing some heavy wind-heavy teams, I'll use that. I'll use him for that in Arena. I also use him if I'm trying to do speed runs for things. Like you guys maybe have seen my, what is it, the Giants B6 in 75 seconds, or Dragons B6 in 75 seconds. So he's part of that team, but I usually just use him. It's sometimes in arena, at this point. Yeah, sometimes in arena. Also Sigmarus, I sometimes use for different secret dungeons for like fire monsters, because he does have an AOE. Let's see, and then, yeah, we went over the Rauk. Tagaros I use for Trial of Ascension autoing. I used to use him for Arena. I don't really do that anymore, just because he has kind of low HP. So I haven't been using him for Arena lately. Sometimes I use him for, let's say, if I'm facing a wind team for guild battles, I will use Tagaros as well. I'll use Tagaros not as the leader, but just as one of my monsters. Like sometimes I do the Fire Grim Reaper, and then Tagaros, and then Chloe. Fire Grim Reaper as the lead. But yeah, I use him for Trial of Ascension to auto it. Up to a certain level. Chloe I use everywhere. Everywhere. Chloe she has a broken set, but I use her everywhere I possibly can. I use her for Arena, I use her for guild battles, I use her for dungeons, I use her for Trial of Ascension, I use her for everything. Chloe is probably my strongest monster that I have. It's not Lushen like you might think, it's actually Chloe. So yeah. And everyone thinks Lushen's my strongest. It's not, it's Chloe. I mean, he's my hardest attacker, but Chloe's my strongest monster in general. Verdehile. Verdehile, I don't even know how to describe when I use him. If I want to auto Arena, I will use Verdehile sometimes. So like you can see, I have a speed Swift on him with speed on 2. But yeah, I'll use him to auto Arena. I'll use him and what's his face? I'll use him and Chloe and Darion. And that'll be my, I don't feel like doing this, I'm just going to auto. And autoing Arena is a horrible idea, but it works sometimes. So, but the reason that I do that is because it's just, when there's less skills for them to choose from, you can kind of predict what they're going to do with more accuracy. So, I use him and Darion and Chloe, and depending on what else, I'll auto Arena with those three and something else. Maybe Lushen, I guess. So I also use him sometimes for guild battles, but not too much. He's good in dungeons as well. He's got his leader skill, increase the attack speed of ally monsters in dungeons, so that's not bad. I haven't been using him in dungeons, but he's good for dungeons too. Fire Grim Reaper. This is one of my first 6 stars actually. And I still use him mostly for 2 things, actually. I use him for secret dungeons all the time. because he's got 2 AoEs. And then I use him for his leader skill. I will use for against win teams in guild battles too, because this is going to work for anywhere. It's just I have to have a fire team for it. So that's why I've been using him for guild battles actually more often than you'd think. Which is, it seems weird, but I have been doing it. Plus he's going to do that, he's got the continuous damage dots and disturb HP recovery for his 3rd skill. So that's kind of good, because there's a lot of teams in arena, in guild battles, sorry, that are going to need, that rely on recovering their HP. So kind of takes that out of the equation. Acasis I use for Giants B10. I was using her for arena defense, but it's really not a good idea with the way I have her ruined. So better for Giants B10. And what else? Oh, and I've been also sometimes using her for guild battles as well, because of her leader skill. Increases resistance of ally monsters with wind attribute by 50%. So if I'm fighting against a water team, and maybe they have like a lure on their team, then that's, or other water monsters that are going to try to do debuffs, increasing the resistance is actually pretty good. And I'll use like 3 of my wind monsters, because there seems to be like a lot of like, we're gonna do all fire and we're gonna do all, that's kind of the way that the guild battles is right now from the ones that I've seen. It's like, okay, we're gonna do all this element or all that element, and it's like, well, when you try to attack them, you're like, oh, well, I'll just do all the element that's better, you know. So all the element that has the advantage. So I have been using her for that. Lushen, where do I use Lushen? I love Lushen. He's my favorite. Chloe's my strongest, but he's my favorite. He's Rageblade. And he is used for, where do I use him? I use him for Giants B10, I use him for Arena, I use him for guild battles, I use him for Trial of Ascension, I use him basically everywhere. I've been using him less in Arena right now. Just because, especially in high level Arena, like when you get to, and I don't stay at Guardian very long, but when you get to like Guardian level, Lushen is not, there's just so many super tanky teams that Lushen is like, especially because there's a lot of fire monsters, so he's less useful. He's good for getting there, but like as soon as you get up there, you're like, I need to switch up my strategy because the meta changes when you get to a certain point. So, but Lushen is awesome. I love him. I use him almost everywhere. Brian needs to go up. I don't like the substats on that though, but that needs to go up. Brian I've been using quite a bit. I use him for Trial of Ascension sometimes. I use him for, where else do I use him for? An Arena sometimes, and guild battles sometimes. So, actually I have been using him for guild battles because if I'm attacking and someone magically dies, I don't want them to die forever and not be able to be used again for the next battle. So yeah, so I have been using Brian for that. And yes, stick your chest out some more. Yes. Good job with your booby plates. And your cock skull. Can we make that a thing? Can we call that cock skull? The Death Knight cock skull. Yep. Also, I've been using Brian, like, for example, when he faces... I'm getting tired of you doing that, bitch. When there's a Fire Death Knight in Arena, I will use Brian to tank the damage. So the Fire Death Knight is going to target Brian when he does his extortion. Brian's going to be able to handle it. He's got like 40,000... Yeah, he's got like 40,000 hit points. So he's going to be able to handle the extortion without any problem. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing with him. Katarina. Katarina I will use against Camila. There is a team, Chloe, Megan, Lushen, Katarina is just really strong Arena nuke attack strategy. And sometimes I will use that, depending. But if they have a Chloe on their team, then I'm not going to do that. Or if they have like a really speedy team where I think they're going to outspeed me, I won't do that. But Katarina, I will, if I'm facing a Camilla in the arena, I will always put Katarina in there, because aside from that, if they have a really, really tanky Camilla with violent runes, it's almost impossible to beat. It's just, it's gonna attack, it's gonna just keep going, and it's such a tank that Katarina is, I need to Chloe combo into Katarina, and then ignore defense and just hit her hit Camilla 3 times. That's where I absolutely need Katarina right now. But Katarina can still, she needs better runes. So that needs to be upgraded. That needs a better rune on there. And then, oh, I finally got the, I did switch that out, okay. The accuracy's not gonna do anything for her. But yeah. But yeah, that's, the only thing is she's kind of squishy right now, the way I have her. She's actually, she's got more HP than Lushen. More base HP. Did not even, I always thought it was less. I really didn't pay attention to what it was, like to how they were specifically compared with each other, but I thought they were like either the same or less. Huh. Crazy. Crazy butts. But yeah. Ramagos. Ramagos actually does not have very good HP right now. He was a recent 6-star. I gotta work on him some more. He needs better runes. What I'm using Ramagos for, sometimes I'll use him in the arena right now. For like the past, since I 6-starred him. But I've been using him, he's good for TOA 100. And he's good for, he's got Vampire on him for TOA 100 basically. So otherwise, he really doesn't need Vampire. But Vampire's a cool build for him because he's got his clean shot. You're gonna gain a tremendous amount of HP back. But this is my 3rd Ramagos, and he's not maxed at all with his stuff. So I gotta max that out. I gotta max that out. But those unknown scrolls have been eluding me this week for some reason. Let's see. And then we have the Ahman. Where am I using my Ahman? Ahman is ruined for... This is a weird... I gotta fix this. Yikes. This doesn't even make any fucking sense, to be honest. This is not... Ahman should be ruined Violent Energy or Violent Blade. There's the broken set on here. This fucking doesn't even make any sense. I should just remove that right now and find something else to put on there. But I have this doesn't even make any sense for Ahman. I'm using him for Giants B10, but don't build your Ahman like this necessarily, because this just like, that's not good. This is the first. The HP plus is good. The crit rate is good for here. Defense, resistance, speed, all good for that. Attack is not bad either. So this is actually a pretty good rune. But this one is... It's okay, but the fact that it's a broken set and I have this, that doesn't make any sense. What do we have here? Speed, HP, crit rate, all good. That's a good rune. Crit rate, HP, speed, that's a good rune. HP, crit rate, that's a good rune. These two need to be changed to something else. I don't even know. So we're... Really should be violent, though. Really should be violent. He's got that passive. So the more you attack and crit, the better it is. He really should be violent. I'm just lacking violent runes. But I'm using him for... I used to use him for attacking sometimes in arena, but I really have just been using him for guild battles right now as the guild battle leader if I'm doing light. So sometimes I'll do him and then Darion and then someone else. Not Bella, even though she's a light monster, but she's not 6-star yet. But yeah, I'm just using it for dragons right now, and sometimes occasionally in guild battles. Let's see what else. I have Darion, so let's take a look at Darion. Darion's actually not that bad. Pretty decent HP. He's Fatal and Endure. What's his endurance? What's his resistance? 51. Not that good though. But I had it worked. I am actually using him more often than I thought I would. I don't use him in dungeons, and I don't use him. I usually just use him in arena attack, sometimes in arena defense, and in guild battles. A lot in guild battles. So I will use Darion. Sometimes I'll do this. I'll do Veromos, someone else, and then Darion, because his first skill is going to do damage proportionate to your max HP. So, but he's good with Violent too. But I've been using him like in guild battles like crazy, and also in arena offense. Not in dungeons. I haven't been using him in dungeons. I haven't really been using him in TOA. But Veromos. Where am I using Veromos? Veromos is... Why is he Nemesis? Oh, I know why he's Nemesis. Never mind. So let's see. He's ruined for speed. That's... Like I said, I'm kind of lacking on the violent runes. But yeah, Veromos I'm using for Giants B10. I also use him in guild battles for his leader skill. Leader skill increases HP of ally monsters by 33%. And I'm also using him sometimes, depending on who I'm fighting in arena. I will sometimes use him as the lead because of his passive. This is also why I'm using him for dragons. But yeah. Let's say maybe when I fight... Maybe if I'm facing... Who? Someone that does like dots and stuff like that. If I'm facing an arena team, they're gonna do a lot of dots to me and stuff like that. I'll use Veromos. And Zinc. I actually want to change the runes on Zinc. I want to take this off. I want to put something else on it. I think I have... Yeah, I have this that I want to put on for that. And I want to switch that around, and then I have this instead of the accuracy. I want to do maybe this. Thinking about it. But I'm doing, he's for TOA mainly. I haven't been using him in... I haven't really been using him for guild battles because he's a defense monster and there's a lot of defense breaks in guild battles, so I don't really want to use him. But I've been using him in TOA to auto. He's part of my auto team in TOA. And then the last but not least, the Shimitae, my latest 6-star monster. So Shimitae is ruined for... This is not right. I'm going to put Violent here. Who is texting the crap balls out of me? Shimitae is ruined for Focus and Energy. I'm going to put Violent on these 4. I'm going to keep the Energy because he's got the crit damage there. And his third skill is going to hit hard. His skill is going to hit hard, and then his Spirit Throw is going to increase the critical rate. So that's why I have this crit damage on here for slot 4. And then I also have this attack crit rate crit damage over here. He's going to be for arena offense. Maybe defense, I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but he needs Violent on these. Especially I have... What Violent rune do I have that I want to use on him? No. Yes, that one. So I'm going to use this Violent rune on him. So lovely, but I'm not going to do it yet because I have like no other Violent runes. I'm lacking on those Violent runes, I really am. But I think Violent Energy is the way that I'm going to go on him. But I've seen people that do him with Swift. I've seen people that do him with Rageblade. So I just think Violent Energy, for what I have, for the things that I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to do Violent Energy for him myself. But yeah, he's going to be for arena attack. We got to work on him. We got to work it, son. But yeah, these are all my 6-star monsters where I use them. Yeah, I think that's about it. Some of them are TOA, some of them are guild battles, some of them are secret dungeons. Did I mention secret dungeons? I briefly mentioned it. Usually when I do a secret dungeon team, I'll put Lushen in there. I'll put Zinc in there. I'll either put Tagaros or Sigmarus or Soth, stuff like that. And then I usually put Chloe, and sometimes I'll put Darion. Just because I want to do a lot of AoEs to get it done fast, and then Chloe and Darion are there to make sure that we don't die on the 10th floor. So, because the AoEs stop being as useful on the 10th floor, so I put Chloe and Darion in there. So that's it. That's my 25 minutes of all my 6-star monsters and me just talking about all of them and where I use them and what I use them for. Right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh man, I am parched. All that talking. I shall sip on my delicious Starbucks tea. Starbucks should sponsor me. Starbucks, give me money. Give me money, Starbucks. Look at that plug. Look at that plug you just got. You should pay me for that. Starbucks. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how I ruined my monsters wrong, because I know some of them... Actually, don't tell me how I ruined my monsters wrong. I know some of them should have different stuff on them. I'm just trying to work with what I got. Alright? Alright. Because I know some of them have some issues, but it works. It works so far. It works for what I needed. I make it work. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next chimichanga. No. In the next video.